Hello, I hope I am audible to everyone. Just allow me a few more time to things to get settled. So yeah, hello, all the people joining me here live. The session primarily meant for having a discussion with respect to the SAT. So let me just 1 second. Let me get the settings a bit right. Now I believe that I am pretty set with respect to the positioning and everything, right? So in the meanwhile, students, this session is primarily just I want to highlight the topic of the session. The session is primarily meant for having a discussion with respect to SAT and everything about the SAT examination. So I hope everyone is I am audible to everyone, and in case you have any questions or concerns, you can have a directly put them in the chat box, and I will ensure that I will give the response to them. So just allow me. Yeah. So now, so I would like to divide the session into three major halves. First is your all about the SAT examination. Second is your how to prepare and how to master the SAT exam, and third is any question answers coming from your end. So the question arises that what is a SAT examination? So SAT is a scholastic aptitude test, a scholastic assessment test, primarily aimed at getting the admissions into the US universities. So other universities across the globe are also giving relevance and respect to the SAT examination, but primarily it is used for the admissions in the US universities. Now, SAT for the time being is a offline based paper. You can say the paper based test. And following that, in due course, I guess from 2023, it is expected to be go you can say online examination. So this is a very golden opportunity for all those students who are more tuned with offline test, more tuned with a paper based tests. Because after 2023, it is a kind of a speculation that there will be no paper based test. So all those students who want to get their SAT scores done, make sure that they do it before March 2023, because beyond March 2023 there will be only a online test of the SAT. Now coming back to the what actually is the SAT examination. So SAT is your 1600 examination, primarily divided into the two parts. First is your verbal, another is your quant. So verbal consists of a reading and a writing section, and the quant consists of a non-calculator section and a calculator section. Verbal is equally divided into if verbal and quant are equally divided with respect to the 800 marks and 800 marks. Now the question arises that there are few questions associated with SAT examinations. Let me clear it in a question wise manner. So the question number first is primarily aimed by the student that will there be any negative marking in a SAT test? So answer is no. There is a no negative marking in SAT test, which primarily means that you have to ensure that you are going to solve each and every question. Question number two arises that how we can apply for the SAT examination, and what will be the actual, or you can say that what will be the exact dates or exact time to fill for the SAT examination. So generally, since the SAT scorecards are valid for the 5 years, so it is not an too much worrying factor that even if you give in a 10th or 11th or 12th. But primarily, what I had seen from my last, from my expertise in this SAT, that majorly all those students who are in the 11th is the ideal time for the preparation of the SAT examination. So more or less, if you have the 3 months timeline in your class 11th, so you should go forward for the SAT tests, right? So ideal time for the preparation is the 11th class. Beyond that, it is also possible, but perfectly, if you want to get ahead with your US admission process, US admissions in respect to the universities and everything, then you have to ensure that get your everything done before 1 year beyond, 1 year before, right? Now, coming to the third question that the students generally ask me, that is the SAT scorecards are valid in India as well. Now, with the changing dynamics of the admissions in the India, and with upcoming pattern change in the pattern, that there is no relevance of the 12th marks. So I believe that SAT preparation becomes more important. Why? Because it will give you some advantage of the the exams which is waiting for you after your 12th. So it is pretty expected, and pretty you should give a note to this SAT preparation. Now the question is that is the SAT scorecard valid in some Indian universities as well? Yes, the SAT scorecards are valid in few Indian universities as well. So what are those universities? Like IIM Ranchi, like Ashoka universities. There are few other premium universities as well which are accepting the SAT scorecards. Now, question number third that students generally ask me that, look, sir, SAT exam is how much, it is a timeline, and how we can, what should we do on an exam day? Now, SAT timeline, SAT is a 3 hour exam. You have to ensure that the SAT paper will be given to you one by one. That is, first you will be given reading test. Following that, you will be given the writing test. Following that, you will be given the maths non-calculator test, and then following that, you will be given a maths calculator test. So, although collectively it is a 3 hour test, but you will be tested in a each section wise. That is reading, writing, maths, non-calculator, and then calculator. And every timeline is should be matched, so that the time become very very important parameter in your SAT tests. Make a note of this, because since there is a no step marking, so either you will get a full marks or you will get a 0 marks. So ensure that you are preparing your you are tuning your preparation in that direction, so that the you do the lesser steps to reach to the conclusion or answer in a one go. Now, primarily there are other factors which are associated with your getting quality scorecard. Now, the question arises that what is a quality score in your SAT? So, in colleges, and for that anything out of 1600 is beyond 1400 or 1450 is assumed to be a good score. Anything below 1200 is assumed to be or even 1250 is assumed to be a very very inferior or very waste score kind of a thing. So if you are scoring around 1200, so you need to push yourself, you need to make sure that you get into the bracket of 1450 plus. Now, coming back to the next set of the question, and another segment of the session, that what are the types of the questions that is going to be asked in your SAT tests. Now, as previously, now this is the something that our audience will be very, 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 very working for, and very, very looking forward for this session. So, what are the types of the question that is going to be asked? So I will start with each type of the section. First is your as we had discussed, that reading test will be the first test. So in the reading test, you will be asked the comprehension based question. What I mean by the comprehension based question, that you will be given the passages. So I guess passages you have to read it. So passages are not based on the story or something you will find it very interesting to read. You'll find a very boring passages, or very dialogue oriented passages which is going to test you, tease you in the terms of your reading ability. And on the base of those passages, the questions are followed. So you have to ensure that you are answering your question based on those passages. So you have to be very holistic reader right from the beginning. The better reader you are, the better SAT reading aspirant you are. And it is a kind of a saying that today's readers are tomorrow's leaders. So make sure that you should inculcate, grow, and develop a reading ability inside you. All those students, all those parents who are listening to this video, make sure that you should develop the ability to read as much as text as possible, because it is going to help you in the longer run. So as few passages, 5 passages, and each passage is followed by 10 to 11 questions. Now coming to the writing section. So in the writing section, although the name highlight the writing and the language test, but there is nothing to write. It is again a MCQ based test only. Each question is followed by the four options. Now, in the writing test, what is expected that you will be given a passages, and in those passages there will be a designated lines or designated points where there is a, intentionally they had placed some, you can say wrong, or you can say mistake, something like that. Now, what is expected from as an aspirant, as a SAT aspirant, what is expected from your side, that you rectify those mistakes with a given set of the inputs what is already given in the question, and then try to come forward with a right response sheet. So this is what is expected in a writing test. Let me repeat it once again. In a writing test, you will be given a passage. In those passages, there will be some points or lines where there are some intentionally kept mistakes are there. You have to figure out those mistakes, and you have to pick the mistakes and rectify the mistakes by the options what is given in the questions, right? You don't have to write it on your own, but you have to choose and select it from the options what is given in the question. So both the reading test and the writing tests are the MCQ based test. That is, each questions is followed by the four questions. This is something very important. Now, coming to the next part, that is the maths part, and that is my forte. That is something that I am expert at. Now, in the maths, you are expected to be, you are expected to solve two types of the question, in the terms of the mode and in the terms of the answers as well. In the terms of the mode, what is expected, that you will be expected to solve questions with respect to the calculator section or non-calculator section. Now, coming to the non-calculator section, it is assumed to be a bit easier than the calculator section. Now, if you look at the, in a single line, if somebody asks me that what is the level of the question, or what is the expertise of the question that is going to be asked in SAT maths, so primarily it is a 10th level mathematics. So more or less, there are few 11 based topics are as well, but there is a no calculus, there is a no advanced algebra, there is a no, you can say the advanced trigonometry or something like that. So anyone who is not that much fluent in the maths, or not is from the maths background, they can also target the SAT paper. It's not like that you will be, your depth of the mathematics is tested, rather than your ability to comprehend the maths and ability to solve the mathematics is judged. It's not like that you need to be very, very expert, or you can say very well developed in your mathematics. I got some question from a Kismis. Sir, may I ask some question? Yes, Kismis, you are most welcome to ask any sort of the question. So any question you have, you can ask me. So now coming back to the maths preparation part, and anyone having any question, you are most welcome here. I'm not able to see your questions. Just 1 second. Now coming back to the our SAT maths preparation. So one important point to note that in the, since it is a calculator section and non-calculator section, so you don't have to you have to ensure that you are carrying calculator at the center, and you have to carry a scientific calculator, not any ordinary calculator. This is the something that a student miss. And generally, I know, I had an experience with my students that on the test day they asked me that, look sir, whether I need to carry the calculator. I was in the assumption that the calculator will be forwarded to me at the center. So please get this assumption clear, that you need to carry your own calculator. There will be no calculator forwarded to you at the center. Now, coming back to the pattern of the question, that in the calculator test as well, in the whether it is a calculator test or a non-calculator test, you will be asked majorly the table-based question, graph-based questions, or something equation-based question, right? So ensure that rather than too much, in Indian style of mathematics primarily focus on rote learning of the mathematics, but the US style of the mathematics primarily focus on the understanding, or the interpretation of the mathematics. So ensure that those abilities should be grown inside you, rather than going in a one directional mode. You should be multi-mode directional. Okay. So more your ability to comprehend, and your ability to solve the equations, graphs, and tables is going to help you, rather than put the formula and get the answer is going to help you. Now coming to the another section, that is the calculator section. In a total you will be having the 58 questions in the mathematics of the SAT, and for which 80 minutes are designated. So more or less you can say that you have the almost 100 seconds to solve each question. Now, important point to note that since there is a no negative marking and no step based marking, So you have to ensure that earlier you reach the conclusion, the better SAT aspirant you are. Time and again I had seen from my students that they sometimes communicate to me that look sir, I'm not able to manage the time. So you are not able to manage the time because you are in the mode of a stepwise solution or a stepwise solving mathematics. So and there our expertise come into the picture. We as a faculty, we as a teacher, we as a trainer help our students how to skip number of the steps and come to the conclusion in a seconds, and that is going to make you the a productive student in your SAT preparation, right? Now coming to the another part of the your SAT preparation, that so what I'm getting a few questions here from my few other students. Look sir, I am from the humanities background. Will I able to be match up with the SAT maths? uh, Not able to figure out your name, but students, let me very clear and very straightforward with you people. Since till 10th, at least in India particularly, almost all the students study mathematics and up to the more or less same level. So if you are able to give the 10th level mathematics exam, more or less you will be able to master SAT level mathematics as well. So you don't need to worry about too much about that. Okay, I'm not the maths aspirant or a humanities aspirant. I am, will I able to the master the maths of the SAT or not? Now let me highlight you that we have few students who are from the humanities background, and they had done well in the SAT mathematics. So just make sure that you remove that intention, remove that apprehensions from your mind. Okay. Now the next question, what I am getting from my students. Now slowly we are entering into the question answer session. That look sir, I had already scored 1250 in my SAT score, and how should I develop skills to get into the 1450 around or 1550 around? Yeah, this is the quality, you can say the intelligent level of the question. So I'm assuming that you had already attempted the SAT. So by getting the marks of the 1250 around, I believe that you realize that you realize that what are the mistakes what you are doing. Now, first and foremost, what is expected from your side to rectify those mistakes? You have to figure out that which section is something troubling you, and first foremost, to plug those sections, and then go forward for the practice. The root line of the SAT getting into the quality scorecard is the more you practice, the better you are. And Indians perennially, and Indians have the this you can say the a factor, or you can say this data associated with Indians, that they are good in mathematics, but they are not very fluent in verbal. So ensure that try to plug those areas. Try to make sure that your verbal also become a very very quality is a potent force, rather than only the maths is something that you can rely upon. So more you able to control the verbal, more you are able to control the SAT, because in maths you have the neutralizing factor, because almost every students, particularly in India, are doing well in the math section, right? So make sure that you're not only giving inputs and giving your attention towards your math section, but also the verbal section. Third is that third question what I'm getting from my students is, sir, I'm not very good at learning things. Will I able to manage the SAT examination? Look, student, since you are dealing with a you can say the SAT US based mathematics, or you can say US based test. So in the US, it is not they are not expecting you that how much brain power you have, rather than they are expecting you to that how much imagination power or how much comprehensive power you have, right? So in India, primarily your brain power or brain memory power is judged, but here in US, your ability to comprehend, your ability to formulate things, your ability to judge things, your ability to see things is going to be judged, rather than only in the one dimensional test. So by giving the SAT test, you can also judge your potential, that where you lie in the terms of judging things, rather than learning the a few things and presenting them on the paper. Now coming to the next question, what I'm getting from the students. Mhm. Sir, I'm not very sure about the SAT online test. Could you please say something about that? Let me very clear with you, students, that even I am not very sure with the online SAT test. Why? Because College Board is still to come out with a provision, or still to come out with a equation that what they are going to put for the SAT online test. Yeah, there are a few articles and few you can say the information on the internet that English is going to be a bit more easier. Maths questions are about to be get trimmed, but let's see that the SAT come out with what sort of the provision or equation Accordingly, we will judge the pattern and we'll communicate to you the both. Now I'm getting a question from X. Sir, how would you manage your time solving the calculator section for both grading and MCQs question? Yeah, time management is something that you need to completely, is something that you need to very much worried about or sure about. Look, one important point I want to discuss with you, that while solving the maths paper, and it is a clear cut notation that you will be given 80 minutes for 58 questions, right? So first and foremost, try to solve all the easier question what you are getting. Let me be very clear with your expertise, with my expertise, that out of 58 questions, you are very much sure about your, 30 to 35 questions. Now, pending 20 to 15 questions, 20 to 15 questions around, now there the actual game start. Now try to complete your, you can say, the 75% of the paper in 50% of the time. Now the rest 25% of the paper should be targeted in the next 50% of the time, that is around 27 minutes. So if you are trying to complete your all the solvable question in a given 50% of the time, that is around 27 minutes, or 30 minutes, so that means that you are going great, right? Now on the next, and there is another strategy which can also be used, that while solving the calculator question, particularly in the grading questions, try to solve them as early as possible. Why? Because I had seen that once you are at the last leg of the your examination, your clock is ticking against you and everything is going against you, and you are solving the grading questions, it can be a possibility, and it is a major possibility that you skip those questions. Why? Because you have the limited amount of the time, and ultimately you have to solve the most complicated question. So grading calculator question is assumed to be most, you can say, the cumbersome or most time taking question. So you have to ensure that first and foremost you solve those questions, rather than waiting, solving the easier questions. So try the difficult one first, particularly in the gradient calculator question. If you are able to master those gradient calculator question, so it is a very good scenario for you. Okay, I hope that I answered your question, and if anything is left, you can connect with me personally as well. Now there is a something again, something more I want to discuss with you people, that is the resources, or the the books, or the contents to follow to master the SAT test. Now this is the something, very a million dollar question that students generally do ask me, that looks sir, I'm not very clear about my strategies, in which books I need to follow, which sample paper, which content I need to clear in order to get into the quality scores. So let me very straightforward with you people, that the Baran books, particularly in maths, is a leader of the mathematics. In Indian terms, I can suggest that Baran SAT book is a kind of a RD Sharma of the SAT preparation in Indian scenario. Now there are a few other books as well. In an Indian scenario, I would like to compare them. That NCRT books for the Indian scenario is same like the college board book. What college board publishes? College board publishes a book as well, which contains the solutions of the 10 to 8 sample paper, and that is also very recommended in order to start with. But don't only focuses only on that, because it is more like a NCRT in a CBSE curriculum. You can get abreast with whatsoever type of the question is going to be asked, but in order to build the expertise, in order to build the depth, in order to come to the the highest level of the question, you have to make sure that you solve the very highest level of the question, particularly targeting the Baran book. Now, coming to the another sources that you can use is the Kaplan. I had figured out that the Kaplan book, and particularly the 10 mock paper of the Kaplan, is a very standard paper that you people can target before giving the SAT actual paper, right? So this is something I completely focuses on, that solve the questions from the Baran, and solve the questions from the Kaplan. So more you are solving those two sort of the books, more you are solving those two sort of the books, more and less you are nearby to your SAT preparation. Okay. Now coming to the another resources that you need to follow is something that we people to our students give to our students, is that the test series designed by our people. So that is also, we have the test, a modular test, you can say the topic wise test, or you can say that the full length paper as well. So we'll ensure that we'll give also all those students who are getting enrolled with us, we'll ensure that we'll give them sample paper, not only of the college board, but also of our own design paper. So that is also going to help you in your actual preparation for the SAT as well. Now, I believe that we had covered all the three parts. That is something related to first, that is everything about the SAT examination. Second was what are the types of the question that is going to be asked in your SAT examination. And third is the all the types of the resources that need to follow. Let me again give you the emphasis on the resources, that you need to be very fluent with your Barron book. Second is the Kaplan book. And the third is the College Board sample paper. If you are pretty much in tune with all these three materials, more or less you will be getting into the quality scorecard. And second important thing that I want to discuss with you people, that don't get into the Indian mindset of learning the facts and presenting on the paper, because your imagination, your innovation, your ability to comprehend things is going to be judged, rather than a straightforward question is going to be asked. Make a note of this. That particularly in maths, I have seen that in equation based, in graph based, and table based question, your understanding ability is checked rather than your learning ability is judged, right? So please ensure that you keep your preparation in that direction and in that line. I hope I had covered the bulk of the materials, bulk of the knowledge with respect to the SAT examination. In case you have any questions or any confusions with respect to the SAT preparation, you are most welcome anytime at our institute in Delhi, or if you can connect with us online as well. So, any more further questions you have? So, if anyone having any question, they can present to me. I'm getting a question from a student that is, look, sir, I'm not able to master the verbal section. Yeah, this is the some very, very, you can say the perennial question, or the maximum asked question, or frequently asked question, that how to master the verbal session. Now, student, since my expertise in the maths, so I'm not very correct, or you can say the right person to answer this. But we will ensure that we will have a session for it as well, for a dedicated section for the verbal session as well. But for the time being, since you had asked the question, I would like to give you a emphasis that start reading content from the number of the, in particularly in the reading section, start reading content from the number of the sources. Not only rely on the Indian level of the books, start reading the newspaper editorial,